Hello, boys, girls, and fellow intellectuals. This is Reason, that voice in your head you should listen to. And today we're going to enjoy some retardation from everyone's favorite transgender lesbian pony, Riley Dennis. Now, I know everyone on the internet has done a video on this thing, but like the town bicycle, just because everyone else is giving it a ride doesn't mean I won't. So sit back and enjoy.
Hey everybody, so I get a lot of questions from people across my various social media platforms. Some of those questions are nice, but a lot of them aren't. I usually don't reply to those kinds of questions because I don't think it will be productive. I don't have time to waste arguing with every asshole on the planet, and a lot of the time, I don't think they genuinely want to know an answer.
Look, just because people are assholes doesn't mean they're not being genuine with their questions. And to be honest, I don't blame them for not liking people like you, because apparently it's bigoted to not drink the SJW Kool-Aid. That's why reasonable people don't like you. But go ahead, continue.
One of the questions I still get all the time is, how can you be a girl and non-binary? I get this question so much, in fact, that I made a whole video about it. Sometimes people asking this question are genuinely confused and just looking for clarification, and that's totally cool. But other times, people are just trying to have a gotcha moment where they expose my feminist hypocrisy.
Who needs a gotcha moment when none of the shit you say makes any sense in reality?
If you ask me how I can be non-binary and a girl, and then I go to your profile and your last 10 tweets are you ranting about how there are only two genders and non-binary people don't exist, I know you're—
Wait, what was that shit in the top right corner? That's pretty funny, since snowflakes do this shit just to stand out or be edgy, so thank you for clarifying how hypocritical you are.
You're not genuinely wondering how I'm non-binary and a girl, because you don't even think I'm non-binary. People like that often just want to fight. They want attention, and they think that by posing a question in a semi-innocent way that they'll get me to respond and get sucked into a whole debate with them. So most of the time, I ignore those questions. But
again, the projection is very real.
That doesn't mean they're entirely not worth discussing. So I want to make some videos addressing rude questions that people ask me. Maybe these questions are asked maliciously, maybe not. I really don't know people's intent behind their questions. But
well, considering most people aren't fucking retarded, I'm guessing most likely they are doing it just to prove your stupidity, even though it is very prevalent.
This isn't about the individual who's asking the question. This is about the question itself. Hopefully, I can use my channel to talk about these things in general and clear up some misconceptions for people. So the first one that I want to start with is about the difference between gender identity and gender expression. I think it's possible for a trans woman to have a beard and still be a trans woman.
I know a few people who would strongly disagree. If you want the respect of being called a woman, then you best try to go about becoming a woman. For instance, Riley, you still have male genitals, but want to call yourself a woman and then say that you're lesbian. You know what that means, right? It means you're a transgender who is still a straight man. I will at least respect those who try to go and get a sex change to become the gender they believe they are meant to be born as, even if they will never be that gender biologically. That is why you don't have my respect. Because you use trans as an accessory, not a real mental and physical issue.
I think it's possible for a trans man to wear makeup and still be a trans man. However, I brought this up recently online and someone asked me basically if they really had gender dysphoria, why would they present like that? They didn't ask it that politely, but that was the gist of it. So there are a few aspects to this that we need to go through. The first part is that gender dysphoria and transgender are not synonyms.
Yes they are. In fact, most transgender people I've met acknowledge that they have it. Your brain is telling you to feel different than you should, then I would say that's a neurological issue. So why do you think these two words don't go hand in hand?
Many trans people experience gender dysphoria, but not all of them.
Like you, since it's just an accessory to you and your fellow snowflakes. Brilliant.
Transgender is when your gender identity, your internal sense of your gender, is not the same as the gender you were assigned at birth.
You're not assigned. The doctor does not just come in and look at a penis on a baby and say, well, I just feel that it's a boy today, so it's a boy. No, they determine what the gender of the baby is due to biological study and physical understanding. What do you not understand?
So if you were assigned male at birth, but now you identify as a woman, you're a transgender woman, and vice versa for trans men.
Trans meaning transitioning, not, I don't feel like saying I'm a guy today, so now I'm a girl. Even a child can understand you're not a transgender, you're a transtrender.
Gender dysphoria is a feeling of distress associated with gendered aspects of your life. It can be broken down into two main categories: body dysphoria and social dysphoria. Body dysphoria for trans women can be things like strongly disliking the masculine features of your body, wanting to have breasts, not wanting to have a penis, stuff like that.
The way you make it sound, sounds more like a preference than a mental issue.
Body dysphoria for trans men can be like strongly disliking the feminine features of your body, not wanting to have breasts, and wanting to have a penis. And even some non-binary or genderqueer people experience body dysphoria.
Someone please give this thing a biology textbook so they can understand there are only two genders, sexes, etc.
Usually in the form of wanting to appear more androgynous. Social dysphoria is things like having discomfort hearing your birth name, disliking the pronouns of the sex you were assigned at birth used to refer to you, disliking using the bathroom of the sex you were assigned at birth, or disliking when people perceive you as the sex you were assigned at birth.
I don't even have to explain how this sounds subjective.
Some trans people experience more body dysphoria than social dysphoria, and some trans people experience more social dysphoria than body dysphoria. But there's still both forms of gender dysphoria, and trans people even experience these things to varying degrees. It's not like an on-off switch where you either completely have gender dysphoria or you don't have it at all. You could have severe dysphoria, medium dysphoria, mild dysphoria, or even no dysphoria.
It's called a diagnosis, Riley. You're not a psychiatrist, so you do not even qualify to even determine what is considered gender dysphoria. But if we're just diagnosing like you, well then you have snowflake brain rot, and I prescribe a gallon of bleach a day.
Because it is possible to feel a genuine connection to a gender that's different than the one you were assigned at birth.
Not assigned, retard.
Without necessarily feeling significant discomfort around gendered aspects of your life. Like feeling that your gender is a certain way isn't necessarily the same as having a strong distress towards certain aspects of your body or the way people perceive or refer to you.
I don't like being considered obese, even though this weight is normal for my body type. But I'm not going to jump on the fat acceptance bandwagon because I'm slightly heavy. But that's very different to saying you're trans even though you're not transitioning and then jumping into Tumblrism. God, this shit is headache-inducing.
Plus, the amount of dysphoria that you feel can fluctuate over time, especially throughout someone's transition, if that's something they decide to do.
If you're not going to transition, I'm not going to consider you a woman, nor a trans woman. You're not going to attempt to make the effort to transition, then I'm not going to give you the respect reserved for those who have.
Like the reason that a lot of trans people have surgeries or take hormones is to alleviate some of that gender dysphoria. And so the changes that can happen to a trans person mentally and physically during their transition can oftentimes reduce the amount or severity of their gender dysphoria. So all of that being said, let's think about a couple of hypothetical examples of trans people for our original question. Why would a trans woman have a beard? Well, maybe she doesn't have gender dysphoria around her beard. Maybe she experiences body dysphoria about other parts of her, just not centered around her beard. Maybe
even so, it's not normal for a woman to have a beard, so expect some odd looks either way.
She feels a lot of social dysphoria, but not so much body dysphoria. Or maybe she just has mild gender dysphoria or none at all. Those are all possibilities. And I'd say the same thing could be possible for a trans man wearing makeup. Maybe he just doesn't have dysphoria at all. Maybe his dysphoria is mild, or maybe he just feels dysphoria in other aspects of his life that aren't makeup. So that's all definitely possible. But let's say we have two stereotypical trans people who experience very severe gender dysphoria. One is a trans woman and one is a trans man. Why would the trans woman have a beard? I can think of a few reasons. Maybe she shaves so often that it irritates her skin and she wanted to take a break to give her skin some time to rest. Maybe
Well, that's possible. I don't think that one could expect to not be noticed if you are growing a beard and wearing a dress. All I can say is, if you're going to be trans, then be what it means, even if it takes time. But for you, Riley, I'm fairly sure you're just doing this to be a special snowflake who wants attention, not a serious trans person. As a matter of fact, real trans people probably don't like you, just for the fact that you're only doing this shit for attention.
she knows that she has an event coming up in a few days, so she wants to let her beard grow out before the event and shave right beforehand to get the closest shave possible. Maybe her beard grows super fast and she did shave this morning, but because it's already late in the evening, she's starting to have some 5 o'clock shadow appear.
That's highly unlikely, Riley, and you know it.
Maybe she can't afford razors and shaving cream right now. Maybe she woke up late and didn't have time to shave. Maybe she's having laser hair removal done and they told her not to shave for a week after the treatment. Maybe she gets really bad ingrown hairs that are super painful every time she shaves. That's everything I can think of, but I'm sure there are more reasons. The thing is, this hypothetical trans woman would still be a trans woman even if she had a beard.
Only if they plan to actually take the steps necessary to transition, or have already transitioned, do they fall under the category of trans. I cannot stress that enough.
The appearance of a beard doesn't automatically invalidate your gender. If a cisgender woman has a beard because of a medical condition like PCOS, she is still a woman. Facial hair isn't the one great determiner of gender.
You're right, it's not. But most trans people will do what it takes to aesthetically look like the gender they are transitioning or have transitioned to. Not saying that it's not possible, Just saying it is unlikely if you're really a transgender.
Now let's talk about the hypothetical trans man who experiences severe gender dysphoria. Why would he wear makeup? Maybe after years and years of applying it regularly before coming out, he got used to the habit and enjoys it. Maybe he wants to be a male makeup artist and looks up to a bunch of male makeup artists as his inspiration. Maybe he works in the TV and film industry where every guy wears makeup. Maybe he has severe acne and uses the makeup to hide his acne scars. Maybe it hasn't been safe for him to come out yet, so he hasn't started medically transitioning.
The only place it is really not safe to come out is in a Muslim country or in the Ukraine, as far as I know. So the only way you're not safe is if you live in one of said countries or in a Muslim or a transphobic family. Otherwise, you should be fine.
Which means he has to wear makeup as a part of his company's dress code because they think he's a girl.
Oh my god, what company would force their employees to wear makeup? I can guarantee that a lawsuit would be in order for such a stupid requirement.
Sure, there are a lot of possible reasons for this trans guy to wear makeup. Cis men can wear makeup too, and they're still men. Putting makeup on your face doesn't turn you into a girl, whether you're cis or trans. And honestly, you don't know what someone is going through. Maybe that trans woman with a beard is comfortable with her beard and enjoys presenting like that. Or maybe it gives her severe dysphoria and she wants to shave it off as soon as possible. Maybe that trans man loves rocking makeup, or maybe he has severe dysphoria every time he puts it on to go to work.
More realistic reasons for regular guys to wear makeup is for war paint, Halloween, spending time with your daughter, or just being a Kiss fan. Guys don't just randomly wear makeup, Riley.
You really don't know what's happening in someone else's life. You don't know their experience of their gender. You don't know what internal struggles they have. And honestly, it's none of your business.
You're right. It's not. So quit telling us to respect the idiotic Tumblrisms of you and the rest of your snowflake friends. Normal people have a life and don't have time nor the patience to call you some stupid shit from the land of make-believe.
I don't think you need to concern yourself with why someone has a beard or is wearing makeup. It's not difficult to just let people live their lives.
We're not stopping you from doing shit. You want us to change how we view things that aren't ordinary. Well, I hate to break this to you, but tough shit, it's not gonna happen.
What I think all of this boils down to is the difference between gender identity and gender expression. These two things don't always line up. Sometimes there are cis girls who like to express their gender in a masculine way, but that doesn't make them trans.
That's a tomboy. That's a stupid point to bring up.
Sometimes there are cis boys who like to express their gender in a feminine way, but that doesn't make them trans either.
That's a tom girl. I seriously should not have to point this shit out for you, but I guess I have to.
And sometimes there are trans girls who express their gender in a more masculine way, and sometimes there are trans boys who express their gender in a more feminine way. People can express themselves however they want. That doesn't change their internal sense of their gender. I think we need to support people, whether they're cis or trans, presenting however they feel comfortable. I really don't like the idea of telling all men that they have to present a certain way and telling all women that they have to present a certain way.
Nobody is telling anybody to present in any certain way except for you and your fellow SJWs. This is some of the most hypocritical shit I've ever heard.
In fact, I think all of this stuff applies to gender non-binary people as well, because a lot of people feel like non-binary people have to express themselves in a perfectly androgynous way. But sometimes non-binary people like to or have to express themselves in ways that others may perceive as more masculine or more feminine. And
there are only two genders, not some random fucking make-believe shit in between, you fucking retard.
That's okay, because how you express your gender isn't the same as how you internally experience your gender. I really don't want to go around insisting that all men act and present totally masculine all the time, and all women act and present totally feminine, and all non-binary people act and present totally androgynous.
No, you just want to tell everyone else how to act and perceive, you snowflakes.
Rather, we allow people the freedom to dress and act and present and express themselves however they see fit or however they're most comfortable, regardless of whether they're cis or trans. I don't think that's too much to ask.
There is no one telling you you can't. There are only people telling you they won't change for your SJW snowflake crap. If you enjoyed, please like it and tell me what you'd like me to do more of, or if you have a video that you want me to respond to, as I do watch my comment section. If you're new, feel free to subscribe, as I try to keep these videos coming out at least weekly. It would be best to activate notifications. As for other news, I'm going to be having a character for my videos soon, and my social media and other such things will be in the description. And finally, stay reasonable. And to you, Riley, transgender is a disease, and the only prescriptions are reason or bleach.